Hello guys, this is Miss Krenrich. I wanted to do a lesson with you on rhetorical strategies, and these are going to be really important because you need them anyway in life, like I talked about speaking and what makes a good public speaker. So think of Mark Antony in Caesar and his speech and what rhetorical strategies he used. Just like anything, it applies to our life now. Let's think about what's happening, what rhetorical strategies they're using in advertising for the COVID-19, politicians, CDC, all of that. Okay. So as we're getting into this, you will need notes. So make sure that you do take notes. Okay. So if you're not prepared, go ahead and take this time to pause the video, get notes. Please take them in Cornell style because you will be showing me, you'll be taking a picture of what you did, okay? Okay, so if you need to take this time, go ahead and do it now. Get a pen and pencil and pause the video. Okay, if you are ready now, make sure that you write rhetorical strategies, okay? That's basically the objective, how we use them in our everyday lives, okay? So there's three types of rhetorical strategies that I'm going to go over with you. They are ethos, pathos, and logos. So go ahead and zoom here. All right, so ethos is basically anything ethical, logos is logic, and pathos is emotion. We're going to get into those a little bit more, okay? But those are the three. Ethos, pathos, and logos, okay? And then we're going to determine which one is the most critical, which one is basically the most persuasive. And the goal of this is to use these in persuasive writing and also in speeches. And we hear them all the time. We hear them in oftentimes advertisements mostly, and that's what we're going to discover here, okay, is these rhetorical strategies in advertisements, okay? So I'm going to go over the first one, ethos, which is ethics, okay? And it makes the audience decide right or wrong, but also credibility, okay? So go ahead and zoom in on that, credibility. So where you see this ethos is political issues, national beliefs, religious beliefs, etc. Typically, contrasting colors, blah, blah, blah. You don't really need that part, but anything that's right or wrong, values, morals, beliefs, and also credibility, okay? So what you'll see in ethos a lot is doctors recommend this, or this is a moral issue. So think about moral issues that have to do with ethos. A big one, religion, right? Abortion, euthanasia, all of those issues have to do with ethical. Is it right or wrong, okay? So that's ethos right there. Pathos has to do with emotion, okay? Anything that evokes emotion, so go ahead and zoom on that there. You want to make the audience feel something, and mainly that primary feeling that you want the audience to feel is guilt, okay? So think about these commercials. Think about those like dog commercials, save the dogs, save the children, all of that. The primary emotion they want you to feel is guilt. They want you to be guilty enough to buy this, okay? Or to do this for someone. So that's kind of a big emotion that these advertisers want you to feel, is that main guilt, okay? So it also tugs at your heartstrings. It makes you say, oh, so anything having to do with hunger, emotion, romance, love, anything like that is also pathos. Pathos, emotion, okay? Next one is logos, logic, facts, figures, statistics, right? Anything having to do with that. Factual evidence, history, numbers, okay? So with logos, you know, anything having to do with, if you're watching a commercial and it has to do with ingredients or what's in this or the history of something, or, you know, facts, like I said, statistics, all of that, it's logos. It means logic, okay? So out of those three, think of the ones that you think is the most powerful. If you have an argument and you're trying to persuade people to believe your point, which one would be the most what do I want to say? The most effectual, the most persuasive, okay? So I'm going to give you a little scenario. Okay, so let's take the topic of abortion, okay? That topic itself is already ethical. But let's take the topic of abortion and say, you know, imagine being a child that could have had a life, and now all that is stripped away from you because your mother made a choice, right? And that would be basically what rhetorical strategy. I want you to think about that, okay? Okay, so what does it do essentially? It pulls at your heartstrings. It makes you feel a little bit of guilt, or it makes the mom feel a little bit of guilt. So that would be pathos, okay? What if I said it is morally wrong to abort a child? It's against religious beliefs. It is technically murder, okay? Think about what rhetorical strategy that would be. Right or wrong, values, beliefs. That's ethos, right? What if I told you that 30,000 babies a month are either aborted or thrown in the trash in India because they don't want them, primarily because those babies are female, okay? Which one is that? Facts, statistics, values, beliefs. That is logic. So think about the one that really made you be like, wow, you know, really made you like kind of persuaded you in a way. Most likely it's the last one, right? Which is logic, because that gave you facts, figures, it put a picture to what's really going on, okay? So these are advertisements that we're going to go over, and a lot of these advertisements have more than one appeal, okay? But I want you to decide which one is it. So in your notes, I want you to write down the advertisement, and I want you to tell me, is it ethos, is it pathos, is it logos, and why, okay? So this is the first one. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires, okay? So think of the baby, think of the tire there, and what are they trying to say, okay? What are they trying to invoke, and what are they trying to tell you? So what I'd like you to do right now is write down, is it ethos, pathos, or logos, and why? Remember, you're going to be graded for this. Is it ethos, pathos, and logos, and why? And once again, ethos is ethics, which is right, wrong, values, beliefs. Pathos is emotion, which is making you feel strong emotion, primarily guilt, but also other things as well, pulls at your heartstrings, and logos is logic, okay? Statistics, all of that stuff. So which one do you think this is? I want you to write it down and why. Okay, go ahead and pause so you can write down your responses. Okay, so as we go back to this, basically, this has to do with pathos because it involves guilt, okay? It is essentially saying that if you don't have the right tires, you're going to kill your child, okay? It sounds kind of like, but that's what it essentially wants you to do, okay? You don't buy this, then you're a bad parent, okay? All right. Next one, okay. Political scientist says Ellen used racial slur. The macaque gave, I don't know. Ellen didn't report stock options. He used a racial slur and he didn't report stock options. So think about that. Which one would that be? Ethos, pathos, or logos? Go ahead and pause the video while you do that. And as we go back, I'm going to tell you what this is. It is ethics. He didn't. It was wrong. It wasn't ethical, all of that, okay? And also maybe a credible source here, right? New York Times or whomever. Okay. Next one promise, two sisters, we will find the cure together, all of that stuff, okay? Which one do you think that is? Again, the holding of the hands, one promise, two sisters, a cure for cancer. Okay, so make sure you write that down. Pause the video if you need to. Write down what you think it is and why. Okay, and then this one is pathos because it wants you to feel a certain feeling. Okay, I want you to feel like, oh, you know, the fight for cancer. I want you to feel either guilt or warm and fuzzy inside or whatever. Okay. This one is, I'd really like you to get a close-up on this because this is one that initially you might think is something else, but as you read down, you can kind of tell what it is, okay? You're running because you want that raise to be all you can be, but it's not easy when you work 60 hours a week making sneakers in an Indonesian factory and your friends disappear when they ask for a raise. So think globally before you decide it's so cool to wear Nike. Okay? So initially, maybe what did you think it was? And then after that, what did it turn out to be? Okay? And what is it essentially saying to those people that buy Nike? This may be a little bit hard for some of you, but go ahead and take your best guess on this, okay? Pause the video if you need to. Okay. So this one basically is ethics and pathos as well, because it's saying it's ethically wrong for these kids to be in sweatshops making your shoes for you, and you should feel guilt about that. So it's basically two of them, okay? And a lot of these do have more than one. But it's saying, like at first you just think it's a normal ad for Nike, and then you're like, oh man, I'm supposed to feel guilt because my clothes are made in sweatshops by these kids, which all of our clothes are, most of them. So again, it's telling you think ethically before you decide, okay? So next one, if you see this, look at where the time box is really honing in on this person, and then it says know why, okay? So look at the outfits that the guy is wearing. You know, what is he part of? What is he holding? Or what's on the floor? And how is his head positioned? And what do you think it's asking, okay? Go ahead and take a couple minutes for that. Pause the video. This one we may have different feelings on. I believe this is pathos because it wants you to have a little bit of guilt, but I think more importantly it's ethos because it's telling you know why, what, okay? What is this guy? What is he wearing? He's obviously in fatigues or military uniform, and there's a gun on the floor. Obviously in war, know why what? Know why we're fighting, right? Know why we're spending billions of dollars on this war, you know, stuff like that. So it's a little bit of pathos and also ethos, okay? Which is ethics, okay? So you see this one, the picture. So go ahead again, tell me what you think. But lean beef's actually lower in fat than you think. Makes you wonder about eating all that skinless chicken, doesn't it? Then it's got all these facts here. Okay, so write down what you believe. The picture and the information are two different strategies. Pause the video if you need it. Yes, that's my dog in the background. Okay, so the strategy is the meat is most likely pathos because it appeals to hunger, okay? And then this part here is factual, so it's logos, okay? So anything that talks about facts, ingredients, anything like that would be logos, okay? So this one, teaching children to hate will never lead to peace, okay? So it's got all these kids armed with guns, which happen in countries, right? Some different countries. So essentially that one's probably, it'll be pretty easy. Go ahead and write that down. Again, pause the video if you need to. And what I would say this one is pathos and ethos, okay? A little bit of guilt inflicted, and I want you to know, is this morally right? And I'll repeat this again at the end, but what you're going to need to do is send me these pictures, okay, of your paper. I want you to send me the pictures of your paper to show me that you are, you took notes and you're looking at the strategies and being detailed in your explanations, okay? Ethos, pathos, and logos, why I love a Mac. So this guy here is supposed to be a PC, and this guy here is supposed to be a Mac. Okay, so what appeal do you think that would be on this one? And then it has a little bit of information here. Okay, so two rhetorical strategies in this. Okay, so if you're ready, we'll proceed. If not, pause it. So basically, attraction, anything having to do with attraction, physical appeal is going to be pathos, okay? And then anything having to do with a little bit of information is going to be logos. So you have those two there. Okay, and then this one here, think of basically how the words are put, what they're supposed to resemble, okay? And then it says, will it bring it all back? Will the hate bring it all back? The mothers, brothers, sisters, all of that. So with this, which is supposed to represent the two towers in New York, and then with this, what do you think that is? Okay, and if you're ready, basically, again, it's pathos and ethos, which go pretty much hand in hand together. So, you know, is hating going to bring it all back? Like, it's also saying it's wrong to hate, basically, but then it's also making you feel a little bit of guilt. Okay, so next one. This one says it's anything but cute, and you probably won't understand this one, but back in the day, people used to, for kicks, I guess, they would sit on copy machines and copy their butt. No, it sounds funny. That's what this car is supposed to be doing, so it's supposed to be cutesy. So what do you think that would be if something's supposed to be cutesy, humorous, anything like that? What would that be? Okay. Go ahead and write it down. Why is it that strategy? Is it more than one strategy, or is it just one? So if you're ready, basically this one is pathos. It's just to make you laugh, okay? This is a really brilliant ad. I want you to take a look at it, okay? Joe Camel was the spokesperson, the mascot basically for Camel. But now he says it's Joe Chemo, okay? And obviously he is in the hospital, has an IV hooked up to him. The Surgeon General warns that smoking is a frequent cause of wasted potential and fatal regret. So which one do you think this is, or two of them? And some of them are all three. We haven't gotten to that yet. Okay, so if you're ready, this one is two of them because it's ethics, which is saying it's, you know, it's wrong, you know, like wasted potential, fatal regret. But it's also pathos again because it's that pull at your heartstrings, emotion, making you feel guilt. Okay? All right, another brilliant ad here. You got teeth. What do they look like? What do they have on them? Okay? And then you have down at the bottom, there are some things you just can't afford to gamble with. Okay? And then a little bit of information here. What dentists recommend, all of that. So which one or ones do you think this is? Ethos, pathos, or pathos, logos. Okay? And why? So go ahead and think about that for a while. Zoom in to the picture again, just so they get a good idea. So again, teeth, what do they look like? What is it trying to convey? And what strategies are they using? Okay, so if you're ready, this is a brilliant ad because you have teeth. They're meant to look like dice, but those black spots on the teeth look like what? Cavities, right? And then you say, and then it says there are some things you can't afford to gamble with, making you feel a little bit of guilt, but yeah, making you feel a little bit of guilt. And then you have all the statistics here, and then you have dentists recommend. So the statistics are logos, and the dentists recommend because that's a credible, believable source, and that is ethics. Okay, so it's all three of them. Very brilliant ad that incorporates all three. Okay, so this one, on with the tradition of spreading holiday cheer, just by looking at that one really quickly. You know, what does that make you feel like? This small gesture of holiday cheer, blah, blah, blah. If anything has to do with cheer, emotions, you know, it's pathos. So basically that's an easy one. Okay. All right. So that's it right now. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I want you to do editorials, okay, that are basically going to be about ethos, pathos, and logos. So, okay. So these editorials, I'll explain in a little bit more depth, but I want to see if you have any questions on this. I also want to see your your work and your notes on this. So I want you to send this to me as soon as you're done with all of that stuff, and then any questions we'll move on, okay? But I'm going to have you do your own written, basically editorial articles about something you're really passionate about, okay? But we're going to go from there. Don't worry about all that yet. I just want to make sure you got a good handle of this. So as you're listening to advertisements, maybe on Pandora or Spotify or whatever, or on the TV, think about, is it ethical, is it logical, or is it emotional, and why? Okay. So even when you hear speeches, I want you to think about the three rhetorical techniques that they're using, and also in Mark Antony's speech, what he used. Okay, so we'll just be thinking of all of that. But again, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you all watched the lesson, took notes. It is part of your grade. Okay, make sure you send those to me. Thank you.